into what are my top, it's not going to be 10, I'm going to say 12. 12 favorite films of the year. And yeah, man, this has been a great year for movies. I do know for the genre, not genre, the movie business, it's been a difficult time to get movies made in the on forth of artificial intelligence pretty much just in question whether or not what's going to be around and what's going to be new in the entertainment form. Um, and which I do know also this year has been a tough year for everybody. I just want to point that out. You know, it's there's a lot of people out there that aren't having the best time. There's people who've passed. There's people who've it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle for a lot of people this year, and I know film is pretty much the last thing on anybody's mind. But I would like to share my thoughts on what are the best movies of this year. And I think I'm gonna go in reverse order, especially just the build up to what number one is for me. Because after I saw it, I couldn't really stop thinking about it, like almost every day. And it's something that I wanted for these auteur filmmakers to do because of their style of storytelling. But I'll get into that. Honorable mentions I would like to put out on my list would be Sinners. Sinners was a great horror experiment. Ryan Coogler, and I am loving the accolades that this movie is getting. So I am rooting for that film during Oscar season, and I'm also looking forward to what he does next in movies. I heard he's trying to do the X Files, so I'm really rooting for that film. Also, I'd like to put out another honorable mention was The Accountant 2. Ben Affleck, John Bernthal together again from the original The Accountant from 2016. Uh, that movie was a great time. It was a good throwback action movie from like mid 2000s and the 90s, man. Like it's one of the best action movies of the year, and hands down for anybody who hasn't seen it, go check it out. I really dug the tone shift. It didn't really, um, especially with more of a, even though it's like an R-rated movie, it was more lighthearted action, uh, to to really get into to really get into the movie with these characters, and it's more comedy into it. I think the shift from the director Gavin O'Connor, who've done like crime movies like Pride and Glory, and then the original Accountant, this was a good, unique experiment from how he shifted the tone from the original Accountant to this one. But I will go with my 12th favorite film of the year. This is from Japan, and it's called Bullet Train Explosion. It's kind of a remake sequel from the original 1975 film, and I have not seen it. So it's kind of weird that they would say it's a remake sequel of an original where it's basically, I guess, the same idea but a new antagonist. And I don't really like the term of how they use that nowadays, but this is a great thrill ride for a kind of race against time hostage situation kind of movie where kind of similar like Pelham 123 and another Tony Scott movie. What was it? Unstoppable. So it's kind of like a mesh of those two movies together in Japan, where this train is speeding at a certain speed level, and it has to retain that. Otherwise, it's going to explode. And it's wired by a incredible mastermind, which the reveal was actually kind of surprising. I'm sorry, I'm kind of shaking the screen a little bit. I got my phone list here. So it's the antagonist was surprising, and I actually like that the film didn't have your typical action kind of hero. It was kind of an everyday kind of character who is trying to handle the situation the best way they possibly can. And it felt like a good throwback of when action sequences were relying more on suspense than just throwing action just right in your face. I thought the movie was also kind of smart, based on what went on into the film and how it unraveled with the reveal of the bad guy. And you kind of after that reveal, you kind of don't know where the movie's going to go after that, but it gets exciting on high level. Like it's probably one of the most exciting action films I've seen in a long time, especially on Netflix's category. Uh, Number 11 would be The Monkey, Oz Perkins film. In fact, I think I like this better out of at least out of all the other movies he's done. I'm thinking he's only done horror films. He's done that. The Black Coke's Daughter by A24. He's done Long Legs, and I've not seen his recent film that came out, but this film came out earlier this year in February, and I love the blend of action, horror, comedy, and this was actually one of the funniest films of the year for me. For whatever reason, I gravitate towards dark comedy. Like it's just like there's parts of it that's just funny. Like sometimes certain subject matters, even though it's gritty and it can be funny when you have a good laugh around it. And I think this is actually his strongest film. I would love for him to do a. I would love for him to do more dark comedies, especially not necessarily in the horror realm. If he does tackle, why am I getting blurry here? If he does tackle, that's weird. Why am I getting blurry here? If he does tackle, I need to zoom up. If he does tackle more comedy, I would like for him to do other genres in it. I don't know why I'm getting blurry here, but the monkey was a surprise. I loved it. Like it was very unique, and I actually was amazed how the story was told. Where a good chunk of the film is starring the young kids, and then after that, it does shift to James, where it feels like both of those segments of the movie feels like half and half. Uh, and I was surprised with it. I was taken aback how good the film was. My number 10 pick by the Ray filmmaker Havoc, starring uh, Tom Hardy, Forrest Whitaker, and it's a film that I thought was. I think this is his first American film, and this was a great action film. Shoot, it kind of reminds me of Max Payne a bit. You have this like Sin City comic booky kind of movie where it feels very like like a dark like a comic book. It feels like a dark horse kind of comic book that you would read on a Saturday on a Saturday morning. Like it reminds me of like a throwback. The action scenes are splendidly done well, intense and fun and bloody and disgusting, and Tom Hardy delivers a very very intense performance. Like this dude is a badass in this film. Also violent for a lot of people. So if you're not really into violent movies, then I don't know if this film is really for you. Number 9 would be Highest to the Lowest, Spike Lee's remake of Akira Kurosawa's High and Low. This film, I've not seen the original, but this film uh, it does, I guess, do something. There we go. There we go. Okay, that's too much. There we go. Okay, highest to the lowest. This film, with his own take, Spike Lee, I thought I thought it delivered one of the most intense chases of the year towards the end, and I like how unconventional this film was when it came to the ransom hostage negotiation kind of movie that we've seen time and time again with Spike Lee's style, and I loved the way it was told. It felt very tonally laid back, but when there were moments where it started getting intense and exciting, it does get to that, especially near the end. And there were some things, especially with the trailer with Selja. I didn't think Jeffrey Wright's character would be. I thought he would be a villain, but I was completely wrong. I love that's probably one of the best parts of this movie. I love their dynamic. Jeffrey Wright and Denzel Washington. I love their relationship as like strong men that really respect each other. And I would love to see them do a movie together as like police detectives or something, doing some sort of investigation with Spike Lee returning. I would love it. I love the finale as well, especially the chase scene with um, I forgot the rapper's name. Was it ASAP Rocky? I don't know. Uh, where Denzel's trying to get after him. Very exciting chase. I love the music behind it. It's probably one of my favorite scores of the year as well. Number 8, which was also a box office bomb. Eddington, starring Joaquin Phoenix, Pedro Pascal, Emma Stone, uh, Austin Butler, and a few other cast members in this film about a local sheriff and a mayor are battling each other in a running against mayor. Pedro Pascal's character, who's already mayor, trying to get reelected, while Joaquin Phoenix is trying to run for mayor, set during the COVID era. And this film is completely unpredictable, and that's what I liked about it. Like it goes from a satire, like a kind of serious dark comedy satire, and then it leaps into a thriller in the third act, and that's actually my favorite segment of the movie, where it dives into thriller territory. And when it does that, it takes a left turn. You don't know where to go, where the movie's going to go after that. And I'm starting to really love when films do that. Like that's really good writing, where you make the audience guess what's going to happen next. You start with this character that he becomes somewhat likable, but then the further he starts getting into the situation he's in, and then he makes a fateful decision that alters your opinion. You don't really like the character after that, but then you're curious to see what goes on after, and then when you witness that journey, it becomes a disaster. It's a very tragic kind of story. I also think it has one of the best action scenes of the year. It's not really an action film; it's a dark comedy. But there's an action sequence that happens in the third act that's one of my favorites, and it was suspenseful, darkly funny. Not everyone's cup of tea though, but it's a film that really I think is one of the most divisive films of the year. But I loved it. And another divisive film that came out this year and hardly anybody saw it, I think it is probably the best comedy of the year because I was dying laughing after this movie. And this is Begonia. It's a remake of a South Korean film, but this version stars Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone. And I'm gonna say it out loud. Jesse Plemons has my support for Best Actor. 'Cause this dude nails it in this movie. He plays like a conspiracy theorist who works for this company who suspects his boss is an alien, and he's also getting revenge for after what happened to his mom, who is in a comatose state. So he uses his cousin to help him kidnap the CEO of this company and to basically force her to convince that she is an alien, that she's there to actually destroy the human race. It's a darkly funny uh, uh, hostage movie by Yorgo Lanthimos. And again, his movies are odd, but this is a film that you kind of don't know. Well, you don't know where it's going to go, especially with this filmmaker. And it gets very violent, especially, it's actually probably one of his most violent movies to think. I have not seen Dogtooth. I heard that one's pretty much off the walls, but I think this one here is probably his most violent film for a dark comedy because there are a few moments in here that does get a little bit too bloody. Well, I wouldn't say too bloody, get very bloody and disgustingly. Ugh. And I went to the bald screening for this, so shout out to that. That was cool. Where you go to the screening and you get shaven. Uh, I remember there was a lot of people at that screening, but there wasn't a lot of time for everybody to get shaven. I didn't get shaven; I was already bald. So number six, and it's a film I saw last night. David, Angel Studios. It's a film about the legacy of David in the Bible, where he becomes king. And his this movie was great. It was great. It's based off. It's a sequel to the 5 minute segments of Young David from the app Angel Studios, and I was watching that, and it was good. I didn't finish watching the series unfortunately because of the force you to having to pay. Um, so I was able to watch it for a time, but David becomes a very uh interesting character when you learn about him and his trust in the Lord and what his willpower inspired people to be and do like is to rely on on God on to be the best possible of good in humanity and to inflict that idea onto others was very inspiring in this movie. It's a film. It's a perspective of kids movies you don't see now these days. And watching that film last night brought me back to those earlier kids movies you don't normally see now. And that's sad, but it was refreshing seeing that again. And I will love for more movies like this to come out to get more uh, positive messages revolving around God and revolving around what it means to be a good human, the means to be uh, a good man, a good brave, having being brave and being a good person, also a good man. Uh, this is a film I can see a lot of young boys and girls really loving, and I love this film watching. It's actually now one of my favorite animated films because I thought it was that powerful. There was another film by Angel Studios, and these are going to be the next two films from Angel Studios that I've seen that are on this. Number five is The Last Rodeo, starring Neil McDougall. I forgot the filmmaker's name, but I think the director's name is John Arnett. He did this crime film called Righteous Kill with Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. But anyway, this is probably one of the most inspirational dramas I've seen of the year. The Last Rodeo centers on a um, grandfather who has retired from doing the rodeos, riding on the bulls, and earn money as a sport after an injury. But he gets back into it again when his grandson, I think I remember his grandson. Yeah, his grandson develops a sickness, and the mother could not uh, secure the payment for the procedure. I think it was a brain tumor. Yeah, I think it was like a brain, if I remember correctly, because the movie came out back in like earlier this year. So the grandfather decides to get out of retirement and to enter into the recent bull riding contest to earn the money to pay for his grandchild's procedure, which is an inspirational story. And one of Neil McDougall, I mean, he's one of the best actors working right now. And he's actually been in the industry for for a long time. Which fun fact trivia, I think he was one of the voice actors in the original Incredible Hulk cartoon from the 90s. Um, he's a scene stealer in this movie. Um, and the sacrifice this character is willing to go through to save his grandson was inspiring, and you see the struggle, the financial struggle, like everybody, like it's a theme, it's a story beat that I think everybody could latch onto and get into, because this is a film I thought was very engaging for a drama, inspirational, and for the sport bull riding sequences was very suspenseful. I will admit there was some style done to those sequences, and I loved it. Uh, like it kept you on the edge of your seat when it was going to happen, wondering if this character is really going to win and earn the money for his to save his grandson. So the movie was amazing, man. Like it dawned on me that this movie didn't get the amount of attention that it deserved. Like, but I highly recommend anybody who hasn't seen that to go check it out. Especially you got the Angel Studio app. Go watch that. Another film, and it's probably my number one film of the out of the studio of this year, Kings of Kings. It's the story from the Charles Dickinson story of I think it's Charles Dickinson himself who tells his son about the story of Jesus and his life and his importance to humanity as the child envisions himself witnessing those events as he rides along with Jesus to witness his life, and it's a beautiful film. It's also a film that can be heavy but necessary. Um, as a children's form movie, I do applaud for Angel Studios for doing kid movies that aren't afraid to be a little bit heavy. It does remind me of kids movies back in the day, like Casper, American Tail, and like even Land Before Time. Like these are kids movies that are not afraid to be mature and telling the importance of what it means to to learn what life is really like. Like it really got me hooked into this. Um, there are a few cast members that are in the lineup in this movie that have like very small roles. So I mean, Forrest Whitaker has a very small role in that. It's not really a nitpick, but Oscar Isaac was great as the voice of Jesus. He was probably one of the best castings of the movie. Um, like this movie was just out of this world, and I'm glad that Angel Studio is getting the recognition that it's starting to get, and I'm looking forward to see what else that they put out. Uh, Number three, and I'm surprised by this. 28 years later, shot on the cell phone. The movie looked great. And I love that Danny Boyle is willing to experiment with tools of filmmaking. Like it's another inspirational aspect from a filmmaker to go out there and try unique things and do things differently. Uh, like I really appreciate the look, the aesthetic look, and then some of the creative choices he's done with this movie. Like there was that picture of the rig where he had like several phones rigged onto like a circular route, and to kind of see the effect of that. I mean, I think it's a moment of just experimenting what that could look like. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that part was a little underwhelming, but I really enjoyed the switch of tone of the movies where it becomes like a horror adventure film with some action. And then when you reach the destination in the third act, kind of reminds me of Apocalypse Now. It switches to a very art house kind of drama. And it's a very risky look. Not look, very risky switch that could turn a lot of people off, especially if they're looking for like just carnage horror. But it's become like a very meditative story about letting go and death and the nature of it. And Ray Fiennes delivers an iconic performance as his character, and I'm looking forward to seeing that character come back in the Bone Temple. It's amazing they shot both of those movies back to back, so it's great, and I'm loving that they just greenlit the third film. So I am heavily invested where the story goes next with the Bone Temple, and then the next one that's coming out. Number two, that I think this is one of the most underrated films of the year. It's getting recognition through Film Independent, so I'm hoping to tune in to that. And this is Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza's war film, Warfare. It's a it's a war thriller. It's more of a thriller. It's a film that recounts Ray Mendoza's time in the war, but it more of a setting. I forgot what the I forgot what the recreation of the battle was set in 2004 in Iraq. But it's really about these soldiers that are pinned down in this house after doing some on a Renicon mission, and they get found out, and they're pretty much pinned in that house, and they're trying to just survive until help arrives. And there's no music in the whole film, but they're there to survive, and you're trying to figure out while watching in horror, what's taking place in the film. It's one of the most intense movies of the year. Especially what takes place when you think they're going to make it out and then something happens where it forces the soldiers to go back in and hold off into into the house until help arrives, and then it's like one situation gets worse and worse and worse, and it just gets so intense. And I love the choice that there's no music in there, and there's no good, there's no bad. It's like just survival, and that's what it all boiled down to this movie. Like it was just intense, and it's a shame, dude. It's a shame that this Academy is going to overlook this movie because this, I think, is one of the top 10 film um, of the year or top movies of the year. It had excellent filmmaking skills to really craft a movie like this, and I wouldn't say there's like a lot of action, but it's action more heavily relying in intensity, and I highly recommend it. If you're not screamers, because it does get a little, it's a war film. It gets violent. And my number one pick is Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another. It is a political action dark comedy. Um, and it's a film I've been wanting these auteur filmmakers to tap into as a action film. Like Martin Scorsese showcased, he's able to film some action sequences and so on. You have these other filmmakers that has done action, even though it might be not be their cup of tea, but I like seeing filmmakers experiment with genres. This one could be Paul Thomas Anderson's most accessible film for people. Right now, my favorite film of his. And he has delivered a iconic action sequence that probably will go down in cinema history. And I'm talking about the infamous car chase scene. It's really just driving a straight line, but the way it was shot was just phenomenal. Sean Penn delivers an Oscar-winning performance. I have a feeling Benicio del Toro is going to win now. DiCaprio is great in here, but what really stands out to me, I think, is more of a filmmaker. It's a filmmaker's movie. I think the filmmaker stands out because it feels like every actor in here had the ability to shine. I feel like it's more of a story driven film. Because there's those movies that heavily relies on the actor, and that's fine. But I think the director here, Paul Thomas Anderson, stands out as probably the best filmmaker of the year with this movie. I mean, it does deals with I mean that racism, fatherhood, father and daughter. Um, there's not a lot of action scenes in the film, but I'm kind of glad that the film doesn't heavily like force action in there. Like it's action, but action done in Paul Thomas Anderson's style and the way he visions it. I would love for him to do another action film to kind of see where it goes, but who am I to judge? Um, and it's a film. After I saw it again, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. I wanted to see it in the 70 millimeter format. Uh, but and this is a film I think the studios had really doubts about of its success. Like they should have released it in film festivals. So to know that they didn't do that because they were worried of the reception of this movie. Because I got my dad to finally watch it. It is kind of wacky, even though it does touch on subject matters. This is probably the closest film I could compare to a previous work of his is Inherent Vice, where it does feel totally wacky, like it's a satire, like it's a political drama with action, but it's a satire of ideas like the KKK, the uh, you know, father daughter. But I think it's a very heartwarming kind of movie of a generational battle of fighting what a character believes is the great cause. Which now the title one battle after another, yeah, one battle and this part of life, and now there's another battle that comes back, and you have to go out and handle it again after so many years. Sean Penn's character is unhinged. I think he's going down as one of. I think this character is going to go down as one of the most iconic characters in movies. The casting in this is great. Yeah, man. I mean, after I saw this movie, I couldn't stop thinking about it, and it's just like I was surprised because when I watched Warfare, I couldn't stop thinking about this film. But this movie, I was excited for this movie throughout the whole year, knowing that Paul Thomas Anderson was finally going to do an action film, and it did not disappoint. It exceeded my expectations on it, to be honest. And I actually like the way the movie was told. It does feel slowly built up to the overall arc of what the film is about, and it kept you guessing where the movie was going to go. I could see the film. I could see they had a hard time advertising this movie, but it's like after the movie came out, they had like three new trailers that come out, and those trailers were the better trailers that they should have put out of the movie. I think that just goes back to studios just being afraid of putting out original ideas because it is getting expensive to make a movie. Top of that, I think the movie was overly expensive anyway. The movie somehow it should have been to like 75 mil. Maybe it might have been that, but then it doubled with advertisement. But I'm curious, what were the advertisements on it? I mean, we got trailers, maybe some billboards, social media. Like, I don't know, man. Like a movie like this, maybe it was the cast. Yeah, it's just, I think a movie like this could have succeeded. It was just too damn expensive. And something I don't know should have gave in where I don't know. I'm not no financial analyst or anything because I talked about it on my review when I talked about the movie months back that this film the budget should have been lower. But anyway, that's my top movies of the year, man. What do you guys think? What are your favorite top movies of the year? Let me know in the comment section and what's your favorite film of 2025, and let me know what is your favorite underrated movie, y'all.